Dr. Barry, licensed psychologist, and here we talk about psychology and true crime. This is a case that people have been asking me to cover for a while, and Diddy, P. Diddy, Sean Puffy Combs, he is currently in federal court on very serious charges. I did cover Cassandra Ventura's lawsuit against him. I do think a lot of the evidence that came forward in that lawsuit, a lot of this is also coming into his trial as well. I don't think if Cassie hadn't publicly sued him, if this had been handled quiet under the table, and if there hadn't been this if he hadn't been put on display like this, I am concerned that people would continue to potentially be at risk based on the allegations, based on the video that we all saw, of what he did to Cassie. Because, I mean, you can't even say alleged because we saw the video. We saw what he did. His lawyers are going to attempt to minimize his behavior and to just say, oh, yes, he gets a little angry sometimes. But mm, her description today, so today, Cassie Ventura did testify in this case. There isn't audio or video available because federal trials don't allow cameras or audio recording. So this is based on reporting from other sources, CNN, Law and Crime, all of your favorite crime YouTubers. They all are putting out the specifics of what's come out. I just want to highlight some of the ways that this can affect somebody psychologically. And sometimes people are asking for me to take a look at what would cause Diddy to do something like this. If the allegations against him are true, we might get to a little bit of that later on. But I first want to start with how Cassie talked about having to speak to him in a very calm tone and that she wasn't okay with the freak offs, like that's my understanding of what it's being called. She wanted to do that less, and she really wasn't wanting to do that, but in order to say no, she had to make herself small. She didn't want to offend him or displease him in any way, and that is definitely a red flag that there are issues. Marissa, that's a great question. If there are any videos of SA and evidence. So it's my understanding that there are videos of people possibly being on substances or not being conscious. So I do not know what evidence is going to come in this case. It's my understanding, especially at Diddy's home, and that he had a pattern of recording encounters. And with Cassie Ventura, she was also his artist. And so there was not only this control in their relationship, there was also control of her image, her music, that he was also the CEO of the record company that she had a deal with. And it's completely understandable from where I sit that she didn't think she could say no, that if she said no, that he would that it could impact her career. And it really breaks my heart because I think at that moment, I'm sure if she could go back, she might do things different. We are where we are, and in my last video that I did talking about this, I talked about why it takes victims so long to come forward, because Diddy likely wasn't evil all the time. Like, there might have been, I don't know, but like, he could have been charismatic at times. That often the individuals that are the biggest manipulators and that are the most harm, sometimes they also have this charm about them. And sometimes they can be loving and decent. And it can be confusing for a victim in that situation to really understand that what's happening to them is wrong. He was also very popular, And that's where celebrities, people with any celebrity status, they have to realize just because you're Diddy doesn't mean that people can't say no. Because sometimes there will be this narcissistic, this ego driven, like, who wouldn't want me type mentality that a person will have. And consent is still required even when you're Sean Diddy Combs. And so let me go to the comments. And I am not aware of any allegation of any things related to Diddy's mother. I have heard that I think his father was connected, possibly. Like there's some allegations that his father might have been connected to organized crime and that Diddy might have glamorized or looked up to the type of power that gangsters, mobsters, that people in those types of positions, the type of power that they have. He is charged with racketeering. And that's where they have to prove that there's an organizational aspect to it. Y'all know I'm not a lawyer, but I listen to a lot of this stuff. All right. Yes. And so I'm seeing the rumors that and these are just rumors. I'm seeing those rumors in the chat. Coercive control, exactly, exactly, witness. That is coercive control. And I think it's important for people to know early on that their body is theirs, no matter if it's a parent like that, that nobody has the right to treat someone in a way that they don't want to be treated. And the hard thing that can come with that is sometimes a person feels so they're in such a low place that sometimes they don't know that they deserve better. And so as a therapist, that's sometimes part of my work. When I'm working with somebody that's in a difficult relationship, if there's some red flags in their relationship, what we'll first do is build them up and their worth and what they want. And then sometimes that person comes to the point where they're like, you know what, this relationship isn't serving me. But if I during that first session where I'm hearing red flags about their relationship, if I was like, "Oh, that person sounds like, oh, you shouldn't be with them." If I didn't build the person up first, it, sometimes the person either wouldn't come back to therapy or it wouldn't be as effective if they haven't first realized, "Wait a minute, I deserve better." And so that's where self-worth I think is really important. All right. Um Okay. I'm just checking the comments. So Marissa, I think we don't know exactly who is going to be testifying in this situation. Yes. And that consent can be revoked at any point. All right. And so that's where with my son, because a lot of times we put a lot on women. So I teach my son the importance of consent. And he's getting older, so he's 7, almost 8 years old now, and he loves to give me like this big bear hug. Well, now I teach him that, like, okay, your private parts, like that there's this gap. And it's not it's just about, because for my body boundary, that I love it when he squeezes me, but like that there are certain areas that there's going to be this gap. And he loves to give me this really big bear hug at night, and I tell my 7, almost 8-year-old, because he has me rate how because he wants to give me the biggest hug ever. And I tell him he loses points if if he crosses my boundary. And so, all right, let's get into, because I have some reporting about opening statements. Some people might not have covered or been following this at all. And so these allegations are graphic. I am not going to be going into the specifics. We're going to be talking in general about the allegations. And so the prosecution did their opening statement where, and I guess it's attorney Emily Johnson, said there was another side to Combs. the cultural icon who ran a criminal enterprise, that's what she called it, with an inner circle of people who helped him commit crimes and cover them up. And they are going to start with the alleged crimes that he forced against his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, including being intimate with male escorts, which he recorded and kept those recordings as, and this is the allegation from the prosecution, that those recordings were kept as blackmail, and that resources from Combs's business were used to exploit multiple women. And the attorney described the freak offs, the multiple day events where he would have multiple women, including Ventura, that they were drugged and forced to engage in unwanted activities. Much of the prosecution's case will focus on Cassie Ventura and one other victim who's been identified as Jane. So I don't know if Jane's, and it's okay if Jane's real name doesn't get out there, because there may be a reason why they're going with the pseudonym Jane. The defense likely knows exactly who it is, and that's where I wonder if there's some agreement to not identify this individual by name. Cassie came forward with her public lawsuit, and so I think so that's why I have no issue using her name. The defense then gave their opening statement, and so we're gonna take a breath, okay? Because the defense is just gonna try to do their job. This is because there's recordings of all of this. I think Cassie comes across as a very credible person and witness. I personally believe that what she says happened, and she has evidence to back up her claims, and so that's where I stand. But the defense's opening statement, Tinny so y'all know Gergeos, I'm probably ruined that. I'm sorry, Tim. Said that while Combs takes full responsibility for his violent behavior, DV is not trafficking. That so they are going to admit that yes, he engaged in DV, but they are saying that he did not engage in SA or trafficking. And so he went on to tell the jury that they will hear evidence of his sexual preferences, and I think they're saying including that he engaged in intimacy with men as well, and it may make them uncomfortable, but the panel is not here to judge him for those preferences. And I have no issue with people having preferences as long as it doesn't involve children or people that do not consent. Consent is incredibly important, and revenge, PORNE. So when people do revenge things, when they're using their power and any evidence or documents that they have against someone, I have an issue with that. The defense attorney called the 2016 video in which Combs is seen, um, it's the Cassie video. He calls it indefensible, but insisted it is evidence of DV and not trafficking. But it seemed like she was trying to run away from something, and it seemed like she was trying to run away from him. And if she stayed with him, he was likely going to make her do things with other people that she didn't want to do. So, but once again, the defense is just doing their job. Okay. The defense attorney went on to say, "Oh, but so I'm gonna have to say this." Okay. So the defense is going to try to allege that Cassie made a choice to stay with him for 11 years. But I personally see that she was in so deep, because she depended on him financially. I think she was probably confused. There was so much harm, and he did everything, in my opinion, to break her as a person. I'm so glad that she finally did leave and that she survived this situation, because not everybody survives. And so I hate, but defense attorneys, like, this is what they do. And it is difficult when they have to when the defense cross-examines the victim, because they are going to try to make it sound like the victim enjoyed, or like they, I don't know, like they're gonna try to make them look bad so that their client gets off. Um, Witness says, I never understood the people who are the most to the people they supposedly love. It's upsetting. And to me, I don't there seems to be this pattern with Diddy, according to the allegations, because there are multiple people that have sued him for physical and other things. I don't know that he cared. Uh, I'm not sure that he's capable of a love that prioritizes the other person. Those are my own personal thoughts. I do not know him. I've never met him. Okay. Never, I do not know him. I haven't met him. I have followed this case very closely, and individuals like this with personality characteristics like the ones that we've heard in Cassie's information, they prioritize their needs first. And people are not seen as people, they are seen as objects. And if you are against them, you are now an obstacle. Or if you tell them no, it's a how dare you, and that's an affront to their ego. So my son, so if I ask my son to wear a blue shirt, because maybe we're gonna do family pictures and I really want him to wear a blue shirt. And he's like, "No, mommy, I wanna wear the red shirt." I'm like, "Okay, it's gonna mess up my vibe." But as long as the red shirt would work, I'd be like, "Okay." Now, hopefully with the goal, maybe we could have a few different options so that he could pick the one that he was most comfortable with. But when my child tells me no, I don't take it personally. I don't feel like it's not a shot to my ego if he says no to me. And there are people that don't view children as people. There are people that don't view their spouse or partner, they don't view them as a distinct individual with their own wants, desires, and needs. Because based on the Cassie Ventura lawsuit, it sounds like if you weren't doing what he wanted to do, if you weren't living to please him, that he would become angry and aggressive. And he did things to belittle people, to shame them. These are all of the allegations that have been laid out. And I'm sorry, I see somebody in the chat that says that this is describing their family. And that's where being that cycle breaker, and I like Dr. Ramani's book, It's Not You. So in Dr. Ramani's book, It's Not You, which talks about healing from narcissistic abuse, there's also a book, Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents. I was able to hear Dr. Ramani and the author of that book. I think it was the author of that one. Couldn't no, I think it was a different book. But I was able to hear two phenomenal experts in the field of narcissism speak. And one of the things that they really focused on was the fact that individuals with narcissistic traits, they often are aware that their behavior is harmful. That's why some don't do it in public. There are others that will. And I think within Diddy's close circle, I think people became desensitized to his behavior. This lasted for like 20 years. Like this was years and years. And I wonder if some of the behavior, because Cassie was able to escape, was it maybe 7, 8 years ago or something? Um, as a person continues to get away with this behavior, sometimes their behavior does escalate, or the people around them, like I said, they become desensitized to where this becomes their normal. Where I mean, I'm thinking about the bottles of baby oil and all of the things that if you work for Diddy, it's just like, "Oh." And, there were comedians that made jokes. I think it was Cat Williams. I think I forgot if Cat Williams's jokes were before a lot of this came out, but a lot of people were like, you don't stay at a Diddy party after, like, there's a party, and then there was like the for everybody else party. I do wonder, yeah, it does break my heart to see there are reports. I do not know what's going on with Justin Bieber. He doesn't he he has a history of struggling with substances, and so I do hope that he is taking care of himself. And if he's not, I hope that his family and friends and people around him are being very supportive of him. These allegations and all of this coming forward, if a person does have their own history of trauma, it can reopen a lot of those wounds. And something that might have felt normal, that might have felt okay. We talked about this with some of our other videos, especially with young boys being harmed by adults, that in the past that used to be viewed as like, oh, that it was almost okay. And now we understand that no, adults should not be, engaging in behavior with children. And we have a better understanding of all those things. And so, um, all right. And I think Justin's parents thought that Diddy could provide him with opportunities musically, that he could provide him um with positive things. If they knew what they knew now, I wonder if they would make a different choice. I wonder. I do wonder. Um it is very, very sad. It is very, very sad. And I think sometimes people are more picky about girls than they are with boys sometimes, and we have to be just as protective of our boys as we are with our girls too. All right. Yes. I remembered your picture. Hello, Amanda. Uh, words matter, Mr. Brennan. So that must be for the Karen Reed trial. uh, yeah. Yeah. And then Lisa pointed out, because I think the parents might have trusted Usher first, but that's where I don't know. Um, Marissa asked a great question of, could Diddy have had his own history with harm in childhood? And if he was in a home where adults were openly having intimacy. So I have worked with children that have been exposed to prostitution, that have been exposed where they were not, where the parent was the one engaging in the behavior and they were just there and saw or heard, or were aware of it. And while that child might not have been physically harmed, it does do psychological harm. And so exposing a child to um things that are beyond their years, and where an adult is doing that, because sometimes that can be grooming, sometimes that can be that situation. So when that happens to a child early on, or if it's done in a way that is meant to manipulate or control that child, that's when I definitely have concerns with it. I also say we can't control what happens to us, but we are responsible for our healing. So while individuals that end up with sex addiction, or that end up um, becoming engaging in criminal behavior, while many of them do have a history of their own childhood trauma, that does not excuse their behavior, because there are many more people. So the majority of people that experience harm do not go on to harm others. So, but Diddy may have had his own experience, and in trying to understand what could kind of have a person develop this type of mentality. The one thing I'll remind us about narcissists is that narcissists do not feel good about themselves. They are incredibly insecure, and they don't think they're attractive. They don't think that they are all of that. And so his whole bad boy image and his whole and I used to like some of the songs. It's so sad. Like R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, like the people like my 80s, 90s childhood is just, ugh. There are some songs I can't listen to anymore, but, it seemed like it was this bad boy image, but from what I've seen in the charges and allegations, it went way too far. It went into crimes, and I am glad that charges were filed. We will see what the jury decides. I do think they have a very strong case against him. Um, uh, and we will see what comes of all of this. I thought it was interesting that, like, Diddy was trying to help Rihanna and Chris Brown reconcile, while Diddy had his own history of alleged DV. I think we saw it on the video, so I might not even have to say alleged, but um, it is just super sad. Let me know if y'all have any questions about this case. It is incredibly sad. Cassie Ventura, she testified. Okay, I'll go back. First, there was a male escort. I don't know because it seemed. I don't know if the person. Well, so there was a male that testified that said that he was paid for engaging in intimacy with Cassie, up to $6,000. Sometimes it could be less other times, and they went into all of the details of that. um Cassie took the stand today, and, my heart breaks for her that, like, so not in a bad way, but she is currently, pregnant, and, I hope that she is healing. I hope that this gave her a chance to say her story and to hopefully get justice for all that she's been through. Um uh, but to have to go through this stressful process while also being pregnant, that's not ideal. But it sounds like she did incredibly well. She is a extremely strong person, and strong doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Strong doesn't mean that the person didn't think about giving up, that they, you know, strong means that they went to therapy, that they maybe take their medication, that they have a support system and a support network, that they are working on themselves. And so I like to redefine what strong is, because strong doesn't mean that you don't need help, that you can do it all by yourself. Because often um, that's often when bigger issues happen. And so, all right. But she testified today, and once again, she was his ex and talked about the instances where she alleges that she was um, on substances and was made to engage in activities that she did not want to. She made comments that she did not want to disappoint him, and but I hope the jury understands coercive control, and they might not, but, like, if the prosecution's listening, I would have an expert that gets up to talk about cults or to talk about high control or high demand groups or organizations, because the way that Diddy operated, it sounds a lot like how cult organizations, where the leader is infallible, like they can do no wrong, and they the leader controls the money. They control everything about everyone's life, what they wear, what they say, what they can do, and the whole goal of the group is to please the leader. And this whole situation reminds me of some of the other cases that we've talked about that involve cult like behavior and groups. um all right. So Cassie did cry at times while she was on the stand, and she talked about feeling horrible about the her experiences, and um and she felt like she didn't have anything else going for her. And that goes back to what I was saying, that individuals that are more vulnerable to situations like this, and this is just a point of explanation. This in no way, because I'm sure Cassie has her own story. Her I'm sure she has her own experiences. And Diddy back then, like, he was a pretty big name. Um Stars, like, he had a TV show where people would compete to try to join a band with him and to try to work with him. And so that's where individuals with narcissistic traits, when you feel chosen by them, the person that feels chosen, um they often feel they have to keep pleasing them to stay on their good side, but they soon realize that nothing is ever enough. Nothing is ever enough. Okay. Um, and Cassie said that substances were used so that she would stay awake, that that they would last for days. Um, she described feeling humiliated. Oh, they talked about a Suge Knight incident. Okay. She testified about seeing pews that were kept in safes at his residence, and that she was once asked to carry one at a club. She also described an incident where she says she and Combs were having a party in Los Angeles, and he learned his rival Suge Knight was somewhere nearby. She says that she and a Combs and an employee dressed in dark clothing armed themselves with pews and left in an SUV. She recalls screaming and crying for them to not do anything stupid. She testified about his control, that he tried to control her appearance, from what she wore to how she styled her hair and nails, and that all of this took a toll on her self-esteem. He paid for her rent, bought her cars, travel, clothing, and would withhold these things if she didn't obey. And that's what makes it trafficking. Like, that's what can make it a crime. Because it would be different if he was just buying her these things because, oh, we're in a relationship and I like you this much. But if she's not doing what he wants, if he's withholding those things, that's where it can become a crime. All right. Oh, so very, very sad. All right. All right. Wow. And Lisa mentioned that he used coercive tactics in the Making the Band shows too. Because if you go back and watch, I don't even know if they're available. If you go back and watch, there are definitely red flags. And Kanye is just all the way off the deep end. Because I did a video talking about when that outfit that because his I think it's wife or his wife at the time, not the one after Kim, that she was wearing something that was just very she seemed uncomfortable, and we talked about it, and I think she left him soon after that. But that was he's done a lot of anti-Semitic type stuff, and he's just doing all kinds of things. And sorry, Jermaine, if that's how I say it. I apologize if not. Nightbot, 2 emojis. If you do 3, Nightbot gets mad. It's yeah, sorry. All right. Um, wow. Uh, so Marissa asked, do I think others will be charged with SA? So I don't know if they will have enough evidence against other people. I don't know if um in this trial if they will have enough evidence if they, because I think they're saying that Diddy was the leader. I think Diddy was the one that supplied the substances, the pew-pews, the I think he arranged a lot of these things or had his people arrange these things. And, so I don't know if any other celebrities, um I don't know if they were aware that some people might be doing things against their will. I don't know. I do think they're going after Diddy. I don't know that they'll go after anyone else. It would depend on the evidence that they have. Oh wow, the y'all said Bianca and Kanye are back together. Oy. Boy. And I still think I agree with this comment that after the death of Kanye's mother, he was never quite the same. I think she was able to help ring in some things for him, but, he's made odd comments about his children and just there's just been odd stuff. If I was Kim, I would make sure that there was supervised visitation. That's just my own personal thoughts. He doesn't seem stable, and he seems very unpredictable. My own personal thoughts, like my own just from what I've seen and heard, uh, uh seems seems like there's a lot going on. All right. Yeah. And we have to be careful when powerful people are surrounded by yes men and enablers. And so that's why I like going live and I like seeing the chat. The chat helps keep me accountable. Like the chat helps. So if I say something and y'all are like, "Wait a minute, I don't know." Like I'd be open to listening and to hearing other perspectives. Um I don't think that we should just be surrounded by enablers. And Lisa mentioned that that Kanye might have had some stuff going on before his mom, but I think we didn't know about it. Like I think she was maybe able to cover some things for him. I don't know. It seems like after she died, Kanye went off the deep end. There was a question. I question either encouraging or asking my children to appear in court. Oh, okay. So Brandy Starr asked a question about kids in court, and that's where sometimes you have to talk to your lawyer. If you have a guardian ad litem, if you have somebody that's representing the children's best interests, sometimes that person can help present things as a child's therapist. Sometimes I've let a parent know, like, "Hey, if I was subpoenaed, this is what I could say, this is what I can't say." So sometimes I was able to ask the children, "What are your preferences? What do you" I was able to kinda talk with them, and present that information to the court. But that costs, it's a thing I've done in the past. How do you respond to those who believe Cassie oh gosh. So so Gen X, Gen 8, I wonder if they've seen the video because I think Cassie took a major risk because I think she was one of the first persons that came forward with the lawsuit. And then after her lawsuit, all the other lawsuits against him have come forward. And if you remember, Diddy settled with her, I think it was a day. It was one day they settled on an undisclosed amount. So Kid Cudi admitted that Diddy blew up his car and paid for it, like, because he was mad that Cassie and Kid Cudi that they were flirting a little. Like, so that's where I in no way think that she was, because to me, she risked her reputation. Her kids will likely be able to read what happened to her. Like, So that's where I don't think that, I don't think that she was an opportunist in any way. Um, from the first time I saw her rep everything that she alleged happened, I believed that it was true before I saw the video in the hotel, before Kid Cudi confirmed. So, Cassie has witnesses that can confirm what she's saying, and so, yeah, I would tell those people to go kick rocks. They're probably the same people that support Sarah Boone. I don't know, some people are always just they're gonna be skeptical about things, and that's fine. But I believe that Cassie definitely experienced what she's alleging she experienced. And thank you, Amanda. We had some rain today, so she's a little poofier than normal. Um, but and I have some new hair dye that I'm trying to figure out when I'm gonna do it. I might try to wait another week or 2 because I just dyed it, I think, like, 4 weeks ago. I don't know. I might try to wait a little bit longer before I make it blonder because it wasn't as blonde as I wanted, and so, I may do that. Alright. Go go kick rocks. I don't know. Go watch paint dry. I don't know what to tell those people. Yeah, A. Stevens, it breaks my heart when people, shame the victim, and so I work with victims of DV. I work with people that have chosen to stay because financially they couldn't leave, and we talked about how they try to be safe, to call the police if something escalates. Um, I've worked with people that have been in psychologically or emotionally unsafe situations, and it is hard to leave. So even often in a DV situation, the person attempts to leave sometimes up to 6 to 7 times. That's the average. Some people don't leave. Some people can't leave. Sometimes leaving is a privilege. And I've worked with a lot of people that have said, one day I just with the clothes on my back and the clothes on my child's back, we just left and never looked back. Because I've worked with some people where leaving cost them but they did gain their safety. They gained some stuff in the midst of it, but sometimes they decided to not fight for child support, or they decided to not fight for alimony, or they decided to just let the other person have the house. And so, um, it's a lot. All right. All right. All right. Yeah. So Virginia was just rainy, so all the way from Fredericksburg, I drove down. Y'all know I am decorating my new office. I am gonna share with you all because I picked my pink color, and I can share that. Here we go. It's gonna be the blue. I'm gonna try to there we go. So this blue, not the one on the left. It's my left, hopefully it's y'all's left too. The one on the left, but it's gonna be, 50%. It's gonna be lighter. So not quite that dark, but that's the blue that's gonna be in my new office. I also picked, this for my new office. So when you are here, you are wonderful, important, safe, brave, special, kind, extraordinary, tough, strong, loved, cared for, respected, amazing, understood, super. You are the reason we are here. And so I'm going to put that in my waiting room. And then I have one other one. Let me add the next one. Uh, okay. Because this is going to be in the kids area of my waiting room. It's okay to be yourself, not know it all, start over again, have hard days, ask for help, make mistakes, feel your feelings. And so this is going to be in my in my what's the word? In my waiting room. So I'm super excited about all of that. Jennifer, I love all the emojis. Ignore Nightbot. It's fine. uh, yeah, so I've tested, so that's what those were the samples that I did on the wall, and then, I'm going to do a nice soothing blue. It's gonna be a little bit lighter than that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Uh Yes, and Brandy Star, thank you for that reminder. The most dangerous time for a person that's in a, unsafe situation is when they try to leave. That is the apps, and that's where you often you don't tell them you're like, so you have to leave in secret, like, and that there is a such thing as post separation harm. That's what Dr. Ramani talked about during a recent training that I attended with her. That therapists have to prepare clients for post separation harm, that sometimes that person that was harmful in the relationship, once they leave, sometimes things escalate. And so, yeah, I'm super excited about them. I got them on Amazon, and they're in my if anybody, so like if there are any therapists that are looking for options, a lot of the things that I'm putting in there, I've put in my, Amazon wish list and my Amazon shopping my Amazon storefront. There we go. Yes, my storefront. Yes. Pregnancy can also be a very difficult time as well. Hey, Dominique, thank you for watching. Yes. All right. And thank you, Kelly D, for being a member for 13 months. Thank you, thank you. You want them on your wall. Ah, all right. So thank y'all. So happy belated Mother's Day to any people that celebrate that. I decided on Sunday to just Saturday and Sunday just to rest, breathe. I have an office. I'm in the middle of an office move. So next Monday, I'll be painting the office with my mom. And then my official move date is May 31st. So I won't be streaming that Saturday. But I am thankful. I posted some old videos about Mother's Day, especially when Mother's Day is tough for people, especially people that have lost children, people that have if their mother is not here, for people that are unable to conceive. That sometimes Mother's Day can bring up a lot of different emotions. People that have difficult relationships with their mom, that Mother's Day isn't always this joyous occasion. And so I shared a video to the community tab, and so I did. So my son and husband, we celebrated on Saturday, and we had Five Guys and cupcakes, and me and my son watched a movie, and the weekend was just nice and calm and peaceful. I celebrated with my mom on Friday. So the Friday before Mother's Day, we went to Panera, and after she came and looked at the paint samples and everything. So the sign is on Amazon. So let me share. Let me see if I can Amazon shop. I will pull it up exactly where it is. Okay, yes. I think I can find it. All right. So let me change my view. There we go. All right. So share this tab. All right. So if you scroll to my office, And so those are the lamps I bought. I've had way too much fun on Amazon. I really like this sound machine. I'll have a little in session sign. I'm so excited. Where are they? Here they are. So, here's the when you enter this office and the it's okay to be okay. I didn't show y'all. I'm also gonna do this one. Let's share this tab. This is gonna be pretty. So, once I have the office done, I will be, sharing my what's the word? I will do a video where I show y'all the new office. I'm super excited. My last office, we have a shared waiting room, I rent from somebody else, and this new office is going to be mine. And so I'll have my own sign. It will be my waiting room, and so I'm excited about it, and I will share that with you all once we can. Yes, Five Guys is one of my favorites, and so yes, 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 yes. All right, so I'm excited. I even got new business cards. And yeah, it's official. Like I feel like I am 5 years. This year makes 5 years running my own practice, and it was a lot for me to leave a salaried, cushy job where I had staff to handle my billing, I had staff to handle everything. I didn't have to worry about anything. To now, I'm the one that um calls to handle everything. And so I run my own private practice. I absolutely love it. Because I own my practice, I get to share with you all on YouTube. So my boss can't get mad about what I say on YouTube. Like I am the boss. It's fine. I am. And so I'm able to have the freedom to do and say what I like. And so I am excited. And so thank y'all. Thank y'all. I'm gonna go on ahead and go eat. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of y'all's day. I'm gonna feed the kiddo and I will see y'all on Saturday. Bye.